underneath there's some dark sides to it. Now yes, we're all pleased that the budget will return to surplus within 3 years. Yes, there is more money for health. But what about housing affordability? This is a very big issue for families and their kids as they struggle. They struggle to have the Australian dream of a home. And the Rudd government, this budget has done nothing. Also, there are cuts to the childcare rebate, which is just not on. And at the same time, a real slap in the face for ordinary Australians is the Prime Minister has done it again and giving himself 86 extra staff. That's on top of 60 extra staff last year. That is just a slap in the face to ordinary Australians that are doing it tough, and I think it's a real problem for the Rudd government. They can't say that they are cutting costs, cutting expenditure, when he continues to feather his own nest like a gangster, feathers his own nest, while he actually is out there saying that we're doing all we can. I'm sorry, it's not true.
Are there any measures in this budget that you particularly object to and you would be thinking of blocking in the Senate?
Look, I suppose the first, as I've said, I think this budget fails because it doesn't address housing affordability. It is a huge issue, as most parents would know, as their kids are trying to get into the housing market. This government has decided to turn their back on them, and it's a problem. It is a real problem. They could have actually introduced, for example, a overseas buyer tax, so that those foreigners that are trying to buy residential property, there was a tax on that. Little simple things like that sends a big message to Australian families. They should have done a lot more.
But surely if you vote against any of the tax reforms, or if you vote against any of these budget measures, you would be responsible for blocking the return to surplus. Do you really want to bear that?
Look, the government has put forward some measures over the last week or two. One is the super profits tax on the mining industry. I have concerns about that issue. I'm listening to the debate as it unfolds. I'm not so sure that when we we're riding off the sheep's back, we went and slugged the farmers with higher costs. So I do understand that one is a renewable source and maybe mining's not. But to be real with you, is this the right time to be slugging these people? I'm not convinced, and it could be short-sighted. However, I'm listening to the debate as it unfolds, and I'm mindful that we do need to look at the broader economy, but I must admit I have some concerns about that particular super tax. Why didn't the Rudd government start with the banks that are ripping us off, when you think about it, making obscene profits when they're apparently doing it tough? How can that be? I don't see too many families making ends meet through this whole process. The banks are still making billion-dollar profits. So I don't know why they started with the mining industry and not the banks. Thank you.
Can we just hold it for 1 second when you say do a discharge? Stop.